All right, so this is your Athens, Georgia County Weather Girl, and we're going live here on YouTube. This is my first YouTube live session, so first time streaming on YouTube. So if I run into any glitches, apologies in advance. And we're going to look today at what's happening with weather. Specifically, we're going to zone in a little bit more with our area, the woods, Athens, Georgia. So right now, last night there was an incredibly amount of tornadoes back west, Arkansas area, Illinois, St. Louis, all the way up into Chicago and Illinois. Tornadoes were just popping off left and right, and many of those tornadoes were PDS tornadoes, potentially dangerous situation tornadoes. So I hope that's not an omen of things to come today, but we can see already from the lightning map. I think that's going to be probably a PDS tornado notification, more than likely. Yes. So judging from the lightning that we're seeing on the lightning map, it's already popping off over in Louisiana and in Mississippi, so which is expected. So let's take a look right now at the radar. So you can see here we have a couple of tornado warnings already issued in Louisiana. So we're not going to focus so much on what's happening out there right now. There's plenty of other channels for that, and there's some really good ones out there. Really entertaining to watch. So we are going to look more at what's going to be happening in our area later. So let's close out of the Radar Omega app right now. All right, so this afternoon it's going to be pretty bad in Mississippi and Alabama. We're probably going to see similar conditions as what we saw last night in Arkansas and all the way up through Illinois. Lots of tornadoes. Many of these tornadoes are going to be PDS tornadoes. Okay, so that's going to happen throughout the morning, rest of the morning into the afternoon and evening hours. Excuse me. By the early evening hours, we're going to see the system start to move into Georgia. So, I'm so sorry. So this is the NAM 3K. This is the 12Z run of the NAM 3K. Let me put this on loop so it's a little easier to move around. This is going to be your precipitation right now. So you can see that precipitation building in over Alabama and moving into Georgia a little bit later tonight. This is going to be around 7 o'clock at night. There's a little bit of shower activity happening ahead of these systems way over here in East Georgia, which is great. I think the more of that we have, the better. That'll help burn up some of the energy in the atmosphere. What I'm showing right now is these systems as they move into Georgia, they're fairly kind of there's a lot of little dots and cells, or it's kind of discrete, and those are the ones that we're a little more worried about as far as producing tornadoes. The good news is that as this system gets a little further into the state, that line of storms becomes a little more linear based, and they kind of all merge in together. And that's another good thing. It's going to produce a lot of high winds for us potentially. We may have some gusts up around 50 or so, 40, 50 miles an hour. But the more we can get that into a big gloop of messy stuff, the less likely there will be tornadoes in our area of the woods. So that's going to be good for us. This is a NAM 3K run, and this is all the way out at around 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. We'll start to see the effects of this system around 2 in the morning, and then it's going to continue on for another few hours as it passes and moves through our state, followed by a low front and a cold front behind it. All right, so let's look at the tornado perimeter map right quick. So this is going to be at around 4 o'clock in the morning, and about this time Atlanta is going to be where they're going to be seeing some potential tornado activity according to the NAM 3K. This is in south Atlanta, kind of always down in McDonough area, and there's a decent amount of CAPE in the atmosphere, about 1,200 or so joules of CAPE. There's not a lot of capping, so definitely the areas south of Atlanta earlier in the evening are going to be at risk for some pretty rocky weather. As this system moves further over into our area, it dissipates, it falls apart, which is really great. So we don't have any dark blue of our area. We'll take a look at a reading. It's probably going to show a marginal tornado, and that it does. There's not a whole lot of CAPE. There's 600 joules of CAPE in the atmosphere, which is enough to kick something off. But we're dealing with a lot less CAPE than, for example, last night, where you had 2,000 and 3,000 joules CAPE in some of these systems. There's not a lot of capping happening either. So if something did pop off, it could, but it would not be a very strong tornado, and likely would not be on the ground for very long. Based on the NAM 3K data, I'm not very worried about what we're going to encounter here in the Athens, Georgia area. And I feel most of this, according to the NAM 3K, is going to be well after midnight into the early morning hours, 1, 2, 3, all the way up until 6 or so. So that's what we're looking there for the NAM 3K data. I'm going to scroll back over here and just again show you there's potential for some precipitation and build out in front of this, but there's just going to be very isolated cells. Some of these may fire off a thunderstorm. If I can get right on top of one of these, we'll see this a little bit further north of Athens. So this is going to be a supercell type situation. Like this is a 400, almost 500 joules CAPE, a little bit of capping. So it'd be a little hard for the system to pop off, but there is potential for a weak-ish tornado around this time up towards Jefferson. And this time meaning this is around this will be around 9 o'clock or so in the evening hours. So we may have a little bit of severe weather built in ahead of this. It'll be very isolated thunderstorms that could potentially have some rotation. I just don't think there's going to be a very strong supercell ahead of the system for our area of the woods. I could be proven wrong. And this is why we have to do these kinds of podcasts and all these weather forecasts, because we need to prepare for the worst. All right, so we're going to close out of the NAM. We're going to take a look at the HRRR model. So this is a model that's updated fairly regularly. Let me scroll up a little bit here. This is updated fairly regularly every hour. This is going to be the 12Z run. We have a little longer view, which is going to go further into the evening hours for us. We're looking at dew points right now. Dew points are important. Dew points under 55, storms are going to have a hard time popping off. When you get up into the 60s or so, that's when storms have a little easier time. And granted, if you get dews in the 70s, it's even more and more juicy for storms to be able to kick off. Right now this is around midnight last night, so we're going to kind of go forward in time a little bit. I'm sorry, my bad. Take that back. This is around. Sorry, this is my first time doing a live stream. A little anxious. So this is going to be around 6 o'clock tonight. And in our area, we dews around 59 degrees or so. So if we go over in time around midnight or around 1 o'clock in the morning, you'll see that there's like around 59, 60 degree dew points or so. This is when our systems, according to the NAM, would start building in. I think the HRRR is going to be a little different. But we don't really, we have a brief period of dews around 64 or so, but like for the most part, our dew points are going to be in the upper 50s, which is great for us. So that's what we want to see. We want to see cooler dew points, which will tamp down the potential for some of the severe weather to move in. Atlanta and West Georgia, they're going to deal with a little higher dew points for a little longer time, which is why they're in a more of a moderate risk for tornadoes than we are. All right, so let's take a look at the composite reflectivity. This is going to show our precipitation, and let's move it back a little bit in time. All right, so this is around, it's going to be around 8 o'clock at night. So 8 o'clock, most of this stuff is going to be over Alabama. It's just going to start entering the northwest corner of the state. We did have a decent amount of rain in northwest Georgia and Chattanooga area specifically this morning. A lot of rain actually fell. So I'm not sure if that's going to help later today with regard to like intensity of some of the storms. We'll take a look at a sounding here. It's again around 8 o'clock. In far northwest Georgia. So it looks like there's a potential for a very weak tornado. There's a little bit of CAPE around 369 or so and some capping. So it might be a little harder for something to kick off. But again, having that we had a lot of rainfall this morning up there, that might pull some of the energy out of the atmosphere for later today. We did not get any rain today. So whatever's out there is going to be there pretty much for the remainder of the day. All right, so we move on across time here. So this is around midnight. So the systems are going to be moving into the Atlanta area around midnight to 1. And one thing I want to point out is that at this particular time, there are some discrete cells that are breaking apart according to the HRRR model. We see some of these cells building over into the Monroe and Lawrenceville, Gwinnett area right here. There's a lot of these discrete cells out here. And these are the cells that we're a little more worried about with regard to like potential tornadoes. So if we click on one of these like the discrete cells right here, we're going to see there's probably a tornado. Well, there's no risk right here at all. It's just rain. That's fantastic. There's not much cape, and there's a lot of capping, so that's why. So that's good. So let's take a look at a couple of others. See what we got. It's a little marginal severe risk right there. Okay, so that's good. So the more rain we have out in front of these systems, the better it is. But we do want to like keep our eyes on these little discrete cells, because those are the ones that if they do pop off a storm, they could be something to look at. So we're going to look at surface wind map right now. This is in surface-based winds, so it doesn't necessarily show you any winds that might come down from high above. So we have a lot of helicity and shear in the atmosphere later tonight. But at surface value, we get back here around midnight or so into 3 a.m. We're just not going to see a lot of surface-based wind, maybe around 20, 25 mile an hour surface winds, which is a decent amount. But there could be some gusts that are much stronger than that associated with this particular system. We go a little further in the night and this clears off. The further east it goes, the weaker the system gets, which is great for us here in Athens, Georgia. Not so good for folks further over in Atlanta area. You can see there's a decent amount of surface-based winds at that time. All in all, I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing today. The model data last night was looking a little more dramatic than it was today. This is going to be our 1 hour rainfall amounts. So if we go over here again till around 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night here, and we don't start seeing anything build into our area again until around 4 in the morning or so, and there's about a ½ inch of rain falling per hour. So to give you an idea, there's going to be a brief period. This is going to be a linear based system by the time it gets to us, with some rain and some lightning and some thunder. I just don't think there's going to be a huge chance of tornadoes in our area. If there are tornadoes in our area, it's probably going to be a very weak tornado. I don't think we're going to have anything to deal with here like they are out west. All right, so this is lightning density maps right here. So this is projected for lightning. And again, you can see here around 5 or 6 in the morning, you're going to see a lot of lightning pass over us. So there's going to be a lot of thunder and lightning with this front that passes through, to be expected. And now this is going to be the significant tornado perimeter map we've looked at a bit before. Okay, this is around 8 o'clock at night, and this is going to be around midnight or so and 1 a.m. This is when it's going to be passing over Atlanta in the early morning hours. And if we skip back a little bit to maybe the next frame here, let's see here in South Atlanta, just take a look and see what a Scootee looks like right here. So almost 800 joules cape and not much capping. So yeah, checks out. So there could be some chances for some lower end tornadoes in the Atlanta area. If we like at the same time, you can see a little graying happening out here, but I just don't think we're going to see with this. There's probably not much. Yeah, there's no risk right now. So if we go a little further out in time, by the time this thing gets over towards middle Georgia, it's going to start falling apart. And by the time it gets over to the Winder Stadium area and to our area of the woods in Athens, it's pretty much lost a lot of its energy and steam. So we can kind of click over here and see what a reading's like over Athens. So there is showing that there is a potential for tornado based on conditions, and those conditions are 348 joules of cape in the atmosphere. There's a little decent amount of capping at -60, so it's going to require a little more energy for something to pop off, and there's not a whole lot of energy in the atmosphere. So I just don't think that anything's going to happen. But if it did happen, there is definitely a lot of shear in the atmosphere, and storm relative humidity, relative helicity is pretty high. So something we're able to kick off, it could be interesting. But what I'm seeing right now is that we are in much better shape as of the 12Z run today. So we still have a lot of time. And as we get closer and closer to this event, we're going to see a little more detail with regard to like timings and positionings, and whether these storms are going to be even weaker by the time they get to us, or if they're going to be stronger still. Let's see here. Hi, Larry. So appreciate getting on to prom tonight. Cutting it close. Yeah, by 9 o'clock tonight, I think you're going to be okay, kind of ish. It's 9 o'clock. That's that's going to be. So by 9 o'clock, and you're going to Gwinnett County, so we're right here at 9 o'clock. I mean, you could encounter some random storm on the way out to Gwinnett and back. You know, I would say that if you're going to something in West Georgia, I might think twice about this. Maybe doing something, out tonight. I think maybe towards Gwinnett, it's up to you whether you want to take the risk on. But I'm not seeing that at that time we're not like under this dark purple area of where there's imminent tornado spinning up. So right now the data looks okay. Just be prepared and make sure you have your weather app installed on your phone. You've got the notifications turned on and so on, and that everybody has a safe. Assuming you're going to a prom at a school, more than likely schools are going to have some safe places to go in the event of a storm. It's more of like when you're in your car going to and from is when you're going to be most susceptible to things. So stay tuned. So that's really all the data I have to show you right now. The HRRR, as I mentioned yesterday on one of my streams, the HRRR, it updates every hour, but on the you got 4 main runs for all the models every day, like at midnight 00, at 6 in the morning at 6Z, at 12Z at noon, which we just looked at data from 12Z models, and you get another one at 18Z at 6 at night. So that's all the main models. Your long range and short range models have those 4 runs every day. But the HRRR model is a little special in that it actually updates every hour. So, but when the hours that are between those 4 main runs, you don't have as much data available. It doesn't go out as far. So, for instance, right now we're looking at the 14Z run. They're still coming in right now. Like I think 7Z. That's going to be around. Do the math in my head from UTZ to EDT. That's 16. It's going to be around 4 o'clock in the afternoon or so. So right now we go out to 4 o'clock. We'll go step back 1 hour and we get the full run. And this goes all the way up to around 2 in the morning. So at 2 in the morning, it's showing there's some storms building into our area. I'm going to take a look at that cell right there. That looks interesting. But this looks like mostly just rain. Find the precipitable water. Where are you at on this map? So yeah, it's going to be pretty. According to this, at 2 in the morning, it looks like there's going to be a cell of very heavy rains at that time. But I am curious to see here at the same time what the SIGTORD looks like. Atlanta is going to get that. That is not looking good at all. That's so almost 900 joules of CAPE and not much capping. Yeah, I would be a little more worried if I were in South Atlanta, and I've got some family and we all have friends in Atlanta, obviously. That's going to be the area I'm most worried about. And a little further down there, like in McDonough area as well, that's going to be something I'm a little concerned about. Jonesboro, this is like right over Jonesboro. So if you know anybody in Jonesboro, like they're really need to be like having their heads on a swivel tonight. So this is at 2 in the morning. So if we just go back a few hours, so 2, 1, 12, 11, 9, around 8 o'clock or so. So I am noticing one thing. I've seen this quite a lot on pretty much all the radar runs over the last day or two. There's this little dark band that's well out in front of the main system that's been showing up literally like almost every model run And some of that dark band is kind of over the Athens area, so we're more than likely going to see a tornado signature profile in here. It's a marginal tornado, and that is so this is going to be coming through in the evening hours, so around 500 joules cape. There's a lot of capping right there, so that's going to be hard to overcome with just that little cape. So chances of tornado forming are low, which is why it's gray instead of like blue or orange or red. And if something did pop off, it would not be very strong and it would not be on the ground for very long. But I've been noticing this little dark area for the last couple of days. It's like kind of a little bit out in front of the main system. So that's kind of interesting. We hope that does not intensify over the day. If that does, then that'll be something especially my friend here, it's going to Gwinnett for prom. I want to keep an eye on later today. So yeah. All right, so that's really all the model views and maps I can look at right now. And I'll stay on stream just for a few more minutes probably, but like I'll probably do another one of these a little bit later tonight. We are thinking about we have a goth night downtown, so I'm scheduled a DJ with that, but we're kind of kicking around whether we want to do that tonight or not on account of the weather. So we certainly wouldn't want to hold an event there and then wind up we have a massive tornado outbreak, especially for folks who might be coming from Atlanta. We have to be responsible for sure. If it was just us, like only Athens people, it might be different. But a lot of folks come to that from Atlanta. All right, so yeah, so that's the lightning map, which is kind of crazy right now. I'm gonna go back over to radar Omega, and let's take a look at radar Omega and see what's going on. So as of right now, looks like there's only 2 warnings issued, and these are going to be over in like Louisiana. We have a PDS tornado. I wonder if I can zoom in on that. So this is our PDS tornado right here, and if we come back out just a little bit, yeah, that's a pretty strong couplet right there. Do I have correlation coefficient here? I totally do. And it doesn't look like it's on the ground. Right now, this particular system does not look like it's on the ground. But they've categorized it as a potentially dangerous tornado, meaning that if it did drop down in the system right now, we really can't get a handle on it. It's a little bit fuzzy. So, I'm expecting as the day goes on, we're going to see more and more of those start popping up. Looks like this one that was just over here I was looking at a second ago, does it look kind of fuzzy? That one just expired. So this is the only tornado warning that's actually happening at this point in time. Looks like it's about over Lake Providence, and there's a ton of lightning with this one for sure. And so we're looking at a PDS warned tornado. It's a potentially dangerous situation tornado. This is over in Lake Providence, and I believe this is Louisiana. So tornadoes are going to be spinning counterclockwise, and we're looking for, like a hook echo, signature of a hook. So which basically, like, you've got like air pulling into the system. You kind of got this little hook kind of shape. And this is just the rain, so we go back to velocities and take a look at it. So we have really bright green right here and really bright orange right here. So this is a very strong system. It just doesn't look, based on the correlation coefficient, it doesn't look like this one's actually on the ground right now, though. Which is great for the people of Lake Providence and Mayersville, because it looks like it's a very strong system. It's not on the ground right now. There might be something up here, but I don't think that's necessarily from the tornado. We thought we'd be getting a lot more tornado activity in the morning, honestly. I thought we'd see a bunch more than what we're seeing right now. I mean, like if we get fewer tornadoes today, that's all the better for us. That the weaker the system is, the better for everybody. If there's another one, I have to closer all this up here. I don't see one. So we got this is so far away from the radar tower. It's kind of hard to get a handle. That's kind of interesting right there. Over by Inverness. So we've got another new system. Where are you? Check our velocity, or check our CC and see if there's anything on the ground. It's not a huge CC signature, so the system does not appear to be on the ground right now. So this would be our hook echo right here. It's not really pronounced, but it's there. You can see inflow coming in from the storm's right. And it's going to basically want to loop around like this. And so your heaviest rains are on the other side of the system, which makes sense. That's why this is a tornado. Okay, let's get this down to the last 30 minutes, last 20 minutes or so. Okay, so this lightning map I've got it configured to show lightning strikes over the last 20 minutes. You can see a lot of activity, and it's going to be literally right where the warm tornado system is over here near Mayersville. Okay, so this looks like this is the new CC map. It looks like something could be now on the ground, just a little bit northwest of Mayersville. That one could be near the ground or on the ground. So we're a decent amount away from the radar site too. This particular tornado warning, it's radar right now. It's not been confirmed, and that kind of checks out. Let me get out of the turn this little thing off. Kind of checks out. I want to turn you off. There you go. It looks like there could be something on the ground now, just a little bit northwest of Mayersville. Yeah, this tornado's on the ground now. I'd be surprised if this doesn't become a confirmed tornado soon. Yeah, this tornado's definitely on the ground right now. It's still showing radar indicated, but it's definitely on the ground. It's got a correlation coefficient. There's stuff being thrown up in the atmosphere right now. Let me turn my storm overlay off. All right, maps updated. Looks like it might not be on the ground anymore. This is a pretty strong rotation right now, just north of Mayersville. This one's on the ground a second ago. And does not. It looks like it's occluded. It may. It's a little bit of noise. It's a little far away from the radar site, so when you get closer to the radar site, you get a little more detail. It's a little easier to figure stuff out. Wish we had a little more. So Hollandale, Rolling Fork. There's Hollandale right there. Hollandale. Okay, there we are. So we're a little, yeah, gotcha. So that's where we are. And there's our river. And so if our tornado is anywhere, it's going to be right in this area right here, where there's a decent amount of lightning. I'm kind of surprised there's not more activity right now. I wonder what the let's go and take a look at the 14Z run HRRR and take a look. There's a decent amount of keep in the atmosphere for sure. Still some pretty strong rotation for the system, a little bit northeast of Mayersville. This system was on the ground a little bit ago, and looks like it's occluded and is now in the storm, in the sky. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's on the ground right now. Alright, going back over to Alright, so it looks like our storm is like moved a bit. There's a new PDS tornado, and this one looks like it might be on the ground. This one's on the ground. So it's had a transfer from the system back over here in Mayersville, and it's now like occluded, and now it's popped back down again, a little bit over north of Aguilia and south of Hollandale. So let's look at the velocities and see. There's a tornado on the ground right now, just between those two areas, Aguilia and Hollandale. This is back in Louisiana, by the way. We're nowhere near Georgia, obviously. It's radar indicated with pretty decent size hail. Moving at what speed? .45 miles an hour. Like I said, this or like the environment today, especially over in Louisiana, Mississippi, and later Alabama, very conducive. There's going to be potential for long track tornadoes, and just what that means is that you have a lot of CAPE, convective atmospheric potential energy. You've got a lot of wind shear. You've got a lot, and that's a very unstable environment across a long area. So that's why you can have tornadoes just stay on the ground and kind of hop up and get back down again. That's what that means. Whereas if, like, for example, if we had a tornado here in Athens later tonight, there's not going to be much CAPE in the atmosphere. There's a lot of wind shear. There's not going to be much CAPE. So if something did make it down to the ground, number one, based on the CAPE values I was looking at earlier, around 300 to 500, 600 CAPE for us in the early morning hours, it would not be a very, very strong tornado, and it likely would not be on the ground for very long if it even made it to the ground. Like, tornadoes can happen, and they actually never actually touch ground. Happens all the time. Obviously, some do, but like that'll be the difference between like their setup and what we'll deal with later tonight and tomorrow morning. Is that they just have ability to have these really long track tornadoes because there's so much a wide area of land that has a lot of tornado fuel in it. Tornadoes don't like to happen. It takes a lot for a tornado to happen. It really does. I wonder if there's not even twin tornadoes down this thing. We could look at the correlation coefficient again. There could be two tornadoes. There could be twin tornadoes right now. This one, which is a little bit northeast of Mayersville, and then this looks like this system is on the ground, the one south of Hollandale. Sometimes what'll happen is a tornado will be on the ground and it'll kind of pull up and drop back down a few miles away. And sometimes they'll be on the ground at the same time before the weaker of the two will occlude and come back up, and then they're going to transfer the energy to another system, which I feel this might be happening here. Let's go back to our lightning map for a second. So this area right here in the very middle of the screen is where the two systems that with two warned tornadoes right now are. And right here where my mouse pointer is, that's where our PDS tornado is. You got a little inflow notch right there. Those little purple areas are likely hail, or at least radar indicated hail. We don't know if that's actually going to the ground. When storms happen, like they'll start forming ice crystals higher up in the clouds, and these storms are really tall, so like ice crystals will be circulated up and down, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So both these are still radar indicated. They've not been confirmed. Looks like there's just the one system here, though. This is like really strong rotation back here, just a little still over north of Mayersville. That tornado's on the ground right there. That's just a little bit southwest of Hollandale and northeast of Mayersville. That system's on the ground. It's still showing radar indicated, but there's no way, unless it's just out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know this part of the country. Okay, this is technically in Mississippi, not Louisiana. Mayersville population 407. Hollandale's a little bigger city. Looks like population 2,162. There's no cameras that I can zoom in on right here to show you. I wonder if any cheaper in the area. Let me see. Still some pretty strong rotation happening just southwest of Hollandale. So I'm not allowed to show, I can't legally show you the storm chase video, but I'm going to see if I can find anything that's interesting. Brandon Coptic doesn't have anything just now. He's on the road traveling somewhere. Still some tight rotation just south of Hollandale and a little bit northwest of Anguilla.
Alright guys, give me a quick second here. Thank you White Nose and Brian for your super chats. The white noise.
Looks like Brandon Coptic is en route to this particular area. Looks like he's hanging out over near Grenada right now. That's where he's at right now. But they're not on a storm right now, so there's nothing to see except the road.
I have the camera up real quick. I didn't really get too much chance to set everything up yet, guys, so bear with me.
Looks like he's just getting started. Still some radar indicated hail south of Hollandale. A little more pocket of hail just over Mayersville right now. Some loose rotation. Loose rotation down by Mayersville, but this rotation around Hollandale and Anguilla is still pretty strong.
Oh, yeah, look at that shelf over there. Give me 1 second here, guys.
Looks like this is not on the ground anymore. So we have a couple new tornado warnings. Okay, it's a little bit north of the system we were just looking at. We're a little far from radar power. A little hard to see what's happening, honestly. Radar indicated hail. This is a little bit west of Grenada and south of Charleston. Oh, so there's actually, I'm seeing two potential systems right now. There's one here, a little bit northwest of Grenada, and there's a second couplet that looks like it's just starting up. I'm surprised this is not warned. Just northwest of Oakland. Yeah, this couplet right here has not been warned yet. This is a system right now that's in this warning. But this is a second system right here. Second tornado. This radar sight any better. Yeah, that radar sight is not that great. Can't really see anything with it. Yeah, there are definitely two systems right here. This one right here is a decent amount of rotation around it. This is the one that's been warned. Moving off in this direction here. Atmosphere starting to get juicy. Very strong rotation for the system that's a little bit south of Hollandale, north of Anguilla. It's just like it's crossing over Highway 61 right now. Good amount of hail. Radar indicated hail.
Somebody's got to keep people aware, right?
This could be on the ground. Pretty strong rotation of the system south of Charleston. This one might be on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Brandon? Yep, I'm just adding oil. Good to see you. Be safe. Yep. There's the wind. Sorry about that, guys. I wanted to head through the field before I got in.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Everything's all tied up. Yeah, let's get the front camera on the floor. Okay. So we got shifting ring entry. Alright, I'm gonna go further south. Don't think this one's gonna do it. It looks interesting, but I don't think this one is with it. Alright. I did get a rebel. I got a healthy one here, so we're doing alright. See how about this fairly quickly. Man, that one to the south.
Some strong rotation right around Gloucester, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's afraid I'm going to try and position for that one to the south that's coming towards I-55.
So this is a classic example of the hook echo. So our inflow notch here is drawing in our air, and the system is wrapping around counterclockwise. So it's a perfect example of the hook echo.
Thank you so much for tuning in and pushing that like and subscribe. I've got 3,800 watching with like 1,400 likes. I saw hit that like button. Free and easy way to support the channel.
And the system in Gloucester doesn't look like on the ground right now. It looks like radar indicated.
I'm not sure what this little town is. What is this little town? Point City Donuts. Might be Point City. West Point. We are in West Point, Mississippi. Just west.
Crossroad one left here, Columbus. And that should pop up.
Here.
Star Runner Me is getting pretty close to the system over in Hollandale. I'm guessing that's the one they're attempting to intercept. Shit's getting real, as the kids say. I should not curse on my channel. I can't help it. I have a potty mouth. The view of Choctaw, Mississippi. Radar just updated. So this is at 8Z, 2 a.m. in the morning. It's lightning flash density map. And there's a little cell here southeast of Athens. Marginal spheres, not much cape. 151 cape, that's not a whole lot. And there's a decent amount of capping at negative 9 centers. No way there's tornadoes popping out of that one. That's probably just going to be some strong storms. That feels the further west you go tonight, I think Atlanta's going to get rocked. Atlanta's going to get some action tonight for sure. 1,000 cape, not a whole lot of capping inhibitor. Atlanta's going to see some action for sure, but I think as the system gets further and further east, it just falls apart, which is great for us. There's a little pocket of stuff up here. It's going to pass over Cumming and eventually Gainesville, but it seems like the system's falling apart the further east it goes. Seven, 8. Nine o'clock-ish. Let me get that 9 o'clock one again, if I can get it. There we are. Probably more severe, yeah. Not a lot of cape in the atmosphere. I mean, I just don't see that these storms are going to survive to Athens, which is great. I don't think they're going to survive to Athens. There's always a possibility they could. So this is around noon time. Which coincidentally is about right now. What's on the current weather radar for us, for our area? Let's take a look at that and see. So far only 3 tornadoes are on the map. That's interesting. I really would have thought there would have been more by now, but there's really not. So we don't have a whole lot happening in the Atlanta, Georgia area at all. There looks like some rain further up north. New PDS warned tornado. Inflow notch right there. That's some pretty good strong rotation right there. It doesn't look like it's on the ground. I don't think this one's on the ground. I think it's just radar indicated. Where are the chasers? I don't have any there's no chasers anywhere close to either of the two systems I'm looking at right now. A whole gaggle of them out here, a little further east. I'm guessing they're kind of waiting for the storms to get to them. Well, all right. I think I might pop off here and go do things. I don't know what there's not a whole lot to look at right now. All this is way back in Mississippi, and we still have we still have a very long way to go before tonight. So yeah, I'll probably put together another video of some kind a little bit later on, but to be honest with you, what I'm seeing right now is not super duper concerning for Athens tonight. It's definitely looking better, like these last few runs, than we were seeing yesterday. Question is, do we drop off tonight? Okay. The wrap says be prepared that this is around 10, that's around 5 in the morning. Oh, got a new PDS warned tornado. Looks like this is west of Yazoo City. Looks like it's heading for Rolling Fork. Some pretty tight rotation right there, pretty strong. Does not appear to be on the ground, it's radar indicated. So we have a hook in, this is another good example of a hook echo. We have our inflow notch right here. And there's our tornado. Usually on the opposite side of the inflow notch to the kind of northwest side, you have typically a little heavier rainfalls, which we're kind of seeing here. A little bit of hail in the system. These tornadoes are moving really fast too. Like this one's 55 miles an hour. So you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare. Like if you out in this area, one could get up on you real quick. That's why these chasers need to be really careful when they're out here doing all the things. I still don't see any chasers that are anywhere near to these systems just yet. So there's not a whole lot to show you. It looks like they're just waiting for these systems to come to them at this point. So the RAP is saying there's a much better chance at a tornado happening in our area than the HRRR. And the NAM is also kind of meh. The NAM is very much meh. A little dark spot right above, like right above the border of Athens, Clark, and .518 Cape, no capping to speak of, low LCL, not as much relative velocity, a little bit of shear. And this is at around 6 o'clock. So all the models are starting to kind of come into line with each other as far as the timing. The most danger for us is going to be around 4 to 6 a.m. in the morning for Athens, Georgia. That's what I'm seeing on the model runs right now. That's not going to be useful. So this is midnight. Almost no cape and a decent amount of capping, which is why there's not going to be a tornado there. Maybe some winds, but not much else. I just don't see it. I think we're gonna be fine tonight. You're very welcome. I think we're gonna be fine. But there's definitely some there's a chance that we have some severe pop off in the early morning hours. So just I don't know how really to advise people. So this is this little strip right here that I keep seeing on almost all the model runs. This is a little bit earlier in the night, around 8 or so. This is a little concerning. This will be up in Dahlonega. Decent amount of cape, not a whole ton of capping. But I've seen this little area, the strip right here. This has been showing up on all the model runs, like, you know, towards like 7, 8, 9 o'clock, out in advance of the main system. If we go look at the HRRR, we're probably going to see the same thing. Let me go to the previous to last run over here. So the HRRR has this as well. This little band right here. And there's our lovely county right there. So this is, again, this is going to be around 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, according to the HRRR. So that's the HRRR model, and we flip back over to the FV3 model. So there it is on the FV3 model, and map, light maps, what's going on? Okay, that's interesting. And then the NAM. I don't know if the NAM's going to have that feature or not. Yeah, it does. So the NAM has this kind of this line ahead of the main system right here, building in earlier in the evening hours. So all three models have this little feature on it. So HRRR, FE3, and NAM 3K, all of these have this little leading edge of something. But it looks like all three of them kind of have it shifted a little bit further north of us. So that's just something to watch for. Maybe nothing, but something to watch for. So we'll go back over to radar. So we got like four systems right now. They're showing up in radar Omega. We got the one system that's a little bit southeast of Oxford, Mississippi. Let's look at the velocities on that one. Can't really see much with this particular radar site. Let me go to this radar site. I don't really see a lot of strong rotation there. Let me look at the Hernando. This one doesn't have velocity on it, so not a whole lot of help there. Hernando, thanks. And let's look at the Jackson radar site. So we have two couplets right here, one in Rolling Fork in Anguilla, and then the other one that's a little further up in Belzani, Mississippi. That one's pretty tight right there. That's some strong rotation. Let's see if either of these are on the ground. This one above Belzoni and a little southeast of Iverness might be on the ground. It could be. It looks like the new update just happened. This one over Rolling Fork does not appear to be on the ground right now. You know, I figured out too, like maybe why these, I don't know, like maybe they're waiting for the radar sites to get better in focus. I don't know how strong that radar is. It doesn't look that strong. Yeah, I don't. None of these chasers are going after these systems. I think they're gonna kind of wait for things to come to them. There's a couple of chasers are. Cycling port maps. Well, that looks nice. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna hop off the stream for now, and I'll gotta figure some things out for tonight. What we're gonna do for our event downtown, and I think right now there's a slight risk of tornadoes tonight around 8 to 9, 10 o'clock. Slight, as in probably like. Not going to happen, but could. And that's going back to what we're looking at before. This little feature, whoops. This little feature happens earlier in the evening. See if the wrap, I'm pretty sure the wrap has it there too. So even the wrap kind of has it. This little darker gray area here, this is around 7 o'clock. And that kind of like pushes off, and then the main system here. So the wrap has us having some, so yeah, this is a really tough call. Really tough call. But I think we're going to be okay. I do like